Welcome everyone. This is the Static Site Editor Weekly Product and Design Focused Call. It is July 20th and let's get it kicked off. I don't have any high-level FYIs or anything to start. Let's flip the order this time because I feel like I always talk a bunch first and only give you 5 minutes. So Michael, you want to start with anything design? I put something on the agenda, but do you have anything you wanted to cover?
No, nothing really to cover. Last week was still just like getting some feedback from the team on the prototype, so that was useful. So I'm making some changes there, and then today I'll be adjusting the discussion guide, but I think that segues nicely into interview sourcing internally. And yeah, maybe we can jump to your point there, Eric, on the Slack recommendation.
Yeah, so I thought about it from our conversation last time. Separately, I put together a spreadsheet that had some internal stakeholders I've been meaning to document because we have a lot of people interested in the static site editor. Internally, it's a very, well, we just say the founding of our team was out of a need internally to make the handbook editing process more accessible. So we have a lot of interested parties and internal stakeholders. Not all of them would make great UX research candidates though. So I was thinking more about it, and I think the Slack channels I posted in the agenda for sales, customer success, marketing, and just the website and handbook channels, I think are an approach, maybe not the best approach, but an approach might be to craft a message with a link to a Calendly link or a Google form or something that we can capture interest, or even like an emoji vote, and just put out a blanket call, because I think if we stick to the people that we know already use it or are interested, we're gonna get a little bit too much like familiarity with how we're approaching it. Hopefully we can get a few fresh eyes in a Slack call for feedback. So I think these would be good channels to start. Probably just post in one and cross post it to some others and hope that people don't get too annoyed with the noise if they're members of all of them like I am. But yeah, that's my opinion. I don't know if anybody else has a different opinion. I'm open to feedback on it though.
And do you have any suggestions on this? Or guides?
Was that to me or Catherine?
To Catherine.
Oh, sorry. I think this is a good approach. I've seen a lot of people do it this way. I've done it this way before too. Definitely makes sense to set up the Calendly, unless you would rather search on their calendar for when they're available. You could do that too. But yeah, I think this is a good approach usually.
Okay. Because with the Calendarly, I think the one issue is like I'm in like a weird time zone, so then it will never line up perfectly to anyone, and everyone would be like, I don't want to really book any times out of this stuff. So can we do like a combination Calendarly, like it like combines like Eric's and my time together, or is it usually just one and one?
Probably the easiest thing to do would be to post two links and just say, if you're in this time zone, if this is time zone friendly for you, choose me. If you're APAC, choose this one. If you can't find a time that works for you, if you want to post yours first and then use mine as a backup, that's fine too. I'm happy to facilitate as many of them as you need me to though.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, let me draft something up and I'll just send it sometime today.
That's great. I'll give my Calendly link in the agenda so that you can include it.
All right, thank you.
I might need to get a paid account at some point, because you can only have that one like time slot. So there's my link in the agenda. And I use the default 45 minutes for mine. If you think the agenda would benefit from an hour, I can turn off that one and turn on my hour link and send that. Just let me know.
Sounds good.
Cool. I didn't have much as far as like major topics or anything, but coming out of the last couple meetings where we've been talking about longer term direction, and I had that little diagram of different paths we might take. I got some feedback from some of the internal stakeholders and other people that are that happen to watch that when I posted it to the CEO channel. I think it has my gears spinning, and also I think it's about time we do a proper revisiting of our user journey and the jobs to be done, update our direction page a little more holistically. And I think user story mapping can be really helpful for that. I've never done it distributed across so many time zones, and in a company that values short and concise meetings. Like I've done it in like 2.5 hour time blocks. I've done it in multiple sessions. I'm just curious if we wanted to talk about maybe the best format that could take here. In the call this morning, my time, Sean suggested I just take over one of the social calls on Thursday at 9 a.m. Eastern, and that would, at least it's on everybody's calendar. I believe that's just an hour though. Sometimes these things can go long. So one idea I had was try and get everybody together for that hour and at least kick off the discussion of the high level jobs to be done, user motivations, and start the process for the actual story mapping, but then maybe turn it over afterwards to an async exercise that people can somehow contribute to. That might be difficult because not everybody has Figma. We'd have, maybe Mural would be better. We can make sure everybody has an account on Mural and we can just kind of whiteboard on there. Maybe we could assign DRIs for different, this is all off the top of my head. We could assign DRIs for like different user flows, like, Chad, go kind of explore what, user tasks would be necessary for the schedule a post being published, or something like that. And then we would regroup for feedback maybe the next week or something like that. We could also just do everything we can synchronously and then open up an issue for additional feedback if it's too much to start assigning work or hold multiple sessions. I don't know. I guess, Catherine, have you observed this in any other groups working effectively?
Yeah, what I've seen and what I personally like is, that combination of the synchronous and asynchronous. Sometimes if I'm going to lead a session, I'll kind of prep the thing, I think I've used Mural often, and they have a couple of templates for it. I'm not sure if you've seen it, but if you haven't, then I can look for it and put it in the agenda.
That'd be great, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so then like kind of setting it up, knowing what we need to talk about so that there's not as much, like the 5 to 10 minutes kind of getting oriented around what should happen. And then doing a chunk of it synchronously and finishing asynchronously. But I agree with you. As much synchronous as possible here, I think usually goes better, because sometimes people will just take a little bit longer to get back to their part of things. So, yeah.
That's helpful. I have been in sessions like that where it takes a while to get started, and then we hit the ground like an hour and 20 minutes in, and we're just like, okay, well now we really get it. Do you know of any like good primers or examples that we can, I'm sure if I search the handbook, there might be an example of how GitLab does it, but like this is story mapping and the goals, and like just that I could share with people a YouTube video or something, a resource. It's very concise, because I feel like it's hard for me to be concise when I explain at the upfront of a story mapping, like this is the process and this is how it should, if we could get that all out of the way with a YouTube video, that might help.
Do you mean a video created by someone at GitLab, or just like a general?
I don't think it needs to. Just a good resource to outline the exercise for anybody that might need a refresher.
Can't think of it off the top of my head, but I will think of one and link it in the agenda.
Cool. I'll do some searching too tomorrow. I know I probably have in my browser history years back, as long as it hasn't been cleared, the links that I would share, but they were more like blog posts, and they were not necessarily visual. They were just like talking about story mapping in general. So I think bite size that we can do just as a little bit of prep work before the meeting would be good. And then we'll work on picking which social call to do it. I guess it would probably be next week. I'll expand the agenda for that one. I mean, not the agenda, the invite list. So Catherine, if you want to join, or we might have some folks from the doc site or from the marketing team. I know Eric Brinkman wants to join. And we'll just use it as a way to start thinking a little bit bigger and thinking a little more focused on user journeys further out, not limited to the current functionality. So that'll be good. So user story mapping should be fun. The only other thing I wanted to mention is just to bring back up the maturity scorecard exercise. Now that we're in 13.3 and we're close to making this available to the product page, in the product pages, we will probably want to start thinking about that maturity scorecard process if we intend to get the right amount of feedback to reach our quarterly goal of getting into viable maturity. It's probably too much to combine the research that we're doing with an interview, but we might be able to use similar subjects. So as we're recruiting, we could keep an eye out for the people that are most excited about it, and possibly hold a second session. It's a brief interview, as far as I understand. For to go from minimal to viable, there's really just a few questions that we need to answer and grade ourselves on. So it should be like a 15-minute call for people that are familiar with the product. And yeah, I think the point I was trying to make is maybe we can use the same interview sourcing and try and get a few candidates there by the end of the quarter.
Yeah, I'm helping out the source group team with some category maturity interviews, and so they're kind of so I'm doing that just to understand how to do these scorecard things. But yeah, you're right. It's just like 1 or 2 questions. And it's it's something that we could even distribute to other team members to help out, where it's like, there's not a lot of helping, or even like a normal like user feel or usability study. It's very like, please do this. How do you rate that? Thank you for your time.
It's like make an edit. Was it easy on a scale of 0 to 10? How easy was it? That kind of stuff. Yeah, I think we collectively need to get clear on like what we're grading ourselves on, what that one job to be done is. It's likely going to be just making an edit, like a copy change to a pretty basic formatted handbook page. But then having them go all the way through the process to create the MR and then ask them a few questions. So that's on my mind, but I hadn't given it as much thought. I'm glad to hear that you're doing it with another team, because that'll be useful experience when we have to go through it.
I just added another link to the agenda. Some other groups recorded their Think Big sessions, so I'm probably going to scan some of them quickly just to see kind of like what their structure is like, and might give us some clues of how to structure it more effectively.
All right, there's a bunch on release management. I want to watch that. I had a really good conversation what was last week. I guess it was Thursday. Anyway, with Jackie, the PM over there, and we talked a lot about the potential convergence or mind share of GitLab pages and how that might overlap with our static site editor if we choose for that to be the home within GitLab. So it was really helpful. There was a recording. I don't know if I put it in our Slack channel, but I think it's on our playlist. Let me pull it up. And that was really helpful to hear kind of her thoughts on GitLab pages and how it measures up in the market with as a sort of release concept or way of deploying your content. There it is. Put it in here. That's probably an agenda item I should have just gone ahead and made. So there you go. And yeah, I'm enjoying the static site editor playlist. Although there was a day, I guess it was Thursday, where I was posting so much on there, I felt a little bit self-conscious about how much content had me in it, but that's just something I need to get over.
You are basically a YouTuber. I think I saw your message.
Yeah. I need to get like the little sign that says like and subscribe.
Click like and subscribe.
Yeah, click like. I need to take lessons from my nephews is what I need to do. Anything, Chad, you wanted to bring up to this group? That mic's not working, so I guess not. Still can't hear you.
Now.
There you go.
There you go. This headphone keeps dying. No, just listening in. The interesting stuff y'all are doing. On the other end of the spectrum from me, I'm still deep in the bowels of the boiler room, and y'all are making Twitch videos or YouTube videos or whatever you're doing.
We should have a Twitch stream. I think the engineers could have a Twitch stream, right? Just live coding. I don't see anything wrong with that.
Huh. Okay, this is getting interesting. Now there's so much possibility.
Nearly as exciting as it looks. It's 90% just being confused. A little bit of cursing, maybe.
A little Googling and come back.
Yeah. Well, I think that sums up just about everybody's job description. I don't think you're alone there or anything. Okay, well, on that note, let me stop the recording and then we'll wrap up.